Have you ever wondered how to best connect with your soul, your higher self, to receive guidance and insights? Well, first, I would like for you to know is that anyone can do that. Anyone can connect with their soul and their higher self to receive that higher guidance. If you ever have questions or you need directions or guidance or anything like that, instead of looking outside of you for guidance, maybe going to a teacher, a mentor, a guru, or reading a book or learning something or whatnot, you always have that ability to tune in, to connect with your soul, to connect with your higher self, to receive higher guidance that is to your highest and greatest good. Because your soul knows all the answers. Your soul also knows what's best for you. No one else can tell you what is best for you. The only source that can really answer that question for you is by you tuning in, connecting with soul to receive that guidance. And in this video today, I want to share with you how you can best go about it. How can you really connect with your soul, your higher self, to receive that higher guidance, that guidance that is truly to your highest and greatest good. Now, one thing I want you to know is that in order to receive guidance, you need to make time and space to tune in, because space creates an opening and a willingness to receive guidance, to connect and then to receive the guidance. And you can do this by meditating. During meditation, you can connect with your soul. You can receive guidance that way. Or you can also do it via automatic writing, where you then you're connecting and receiving guidance and writing it down. So these are two ways that you can do that, by just meditating and tuning in, or like I said, by using automatic writing. And I actually have found automatic writing can actually help you bypass your ego in a way, because when you're in a meditative state and you're trying to connect and trying to receive guidance, it's often your mind can go all over the place and is very distracted. But when you're actually doing it in writing, then you're focusing on the writing. You're having something to focus on, and that may make it easier. But the most important thing is, in order to receive guidance, you really need to make that time and space to really open yourself up to receiving guidance. And then also to surrender your ego and let go of any attachments, let go of any busyness, of any desired outcomes. That is really the prerequisite of really connecting with your soul to receive guidance. Now, let me share with you how to really go about connecting with your soul, connecting with your higher self to receive the guidance. So first, what you want to do is, once you've really created the space and the time and really prepared yourself to set the intention that you want to connect, then what you do is you just tune in. You connect within your heart. You ground yourself and you just call upon your soul, call upon your higher self. And you can say something as simple as, I now call forth my soul. I now call forth my higher self. Please step forward and connect with me now. And you just then may feel that inner shift. For me, it feels like I'm sitting up a little taller, like this inner sitting up in a way. I feel that inner shift happening once I really, call forth my soul and higher self. You may even feel it coming from above. Whatever it is for you is perfectly fine. You may don't have somewhat of a sensation, but you just have that inner knowing that, okay, now I'm connected. You can also double check by asking, am I now connected with my soul and my higher self? And wait for somewhat of a confirmation, whether it's yes or no. But that is the first step, is you want to call in your soul and higher self. Welcome in that connection with your soul and your higher self. And then when you're connected, what you want to do is you want to start out with asking simple questions. You can ask something as simple as, what is most important for me to know today? Or how can I make an impact today? Or how can I serve myself or others in a higher way today? You want to start with asking those simpler questions, especially in the beginning, because if you're already going in and asking these really big, very important questions, you may not get the guidance because you're too attached to an outcome. You're too attached to an answer, and then you may not be getting the answer. But if you're starting out, and especially going in whenever you don't have any big questions in mind, and you just build that bond, because that's really what it is. You want to build that bond, that connection, because that will then also help you to learn to trust the guidance as well. But once you connect with your soul, just ask those simple questions. Ask those very simple questions, and you can actually do that daily. Connect with your soul daily to receive the guidance. That, like I said, also creates that bond. That also helps you develop your intuition better. And here you can do this in writing, or you can do this in meditative state, whichever you want to do. You can even switch it up. One day you may do it in meditation, the next day you may do it in writing. You have absolute free will to play around with this, because this is about being playful. It's not about being serious. It's really about being playful, being in that curious kind of frequency, right? Because you want to be in that playful energy, because then you're detached from the outcome. But start asking those simple questions, and then once you start receiving guidance, maybe even more evolved guidance, you can then ask somewhat of a bigger question, a question that maybe is more important to you. Ease into that. Ease into the bigger questions, and just practice that. Do that on a daily basis, just tuning in. But then also a very important step is you want to surrender and detach to any outcome or any desired answer. Because if you're too attached to what you want to receive as far as answer, if you want to get somewhat of a confirmation, but if the guidance is really not what you want to hear, maybe it's even something different than what you actually want, then you're actually blocking it. You're interfering with the guidance. Or you're just like, no, I don't want to hear this, right? So you're then actually closing the door to receive the guidance. So here, that's why it's so important that you surrender. And if you're a little challenged, let's say you're asking a question and you feel like it's kind of coming through forced, or it doesn't want to flow, then here what you want to do is just tune back into your heart and really set the intention. I now surrender to the guidance. I let go of any outcome, any desired outcome, any attachments. I just let it all go. And then try again. Once you really feel like that detachment to that outcome, once you feel like you're that clear channel again to that higher guidance, then ask again, okay, what is important for me to know about this? You can even ask your soul, your higher self, to help you remove any of those attachments, any of those outcomes, desired outcomes, to help you really receive the guidance, the guidance that is to your highest and greatest good. You want to really be, when it comes to channeling higher guidance, because it is really you're channeling. It's not coming from you, it's coming through you, right? You want to really be in that flow. And when it comes to the guidance, you will know when it is higher guidance, when it just flows. And if it comes forced, then it is edited by ego. And when it comes to receiving guidance, here too, never edit the guidance. Whatever you have, let's say, written down, or whatever message you have gotten, do not edit it, do not question it, do not reject it, unless it really came from ego, unless you felt like, okay, this doesn't sound right. You can always double check too, well, was this higher guidance? Or was this ego guidance? You can double check as well, but never edit any guidance that you received. You want to trust that whatever you received was truly to your highest and greatest good. And like I said, you can always double check, was this higher guidance or was this ego? But you really want to be in a receptive state. That is really key. You want to be receptive to the guidance, to the information, and also, don't get impatient either. There has been many times in the beginning, when I tuned in and I had a question and wasn't coming. I'm like, hello, anyone here? And you see, the thing is, when it comes to the higher guidance, it comes when you are least resistant and most receptive to the answer. So if, let's say, you're sitting there in your meditation, you're trying to get guidance, or you're doing it with automatic writing, and like nothing is coming through, okay, surrender to it. Let it go. Okay, well, I asked the question. I'm just going to go about my day. And then truly go about your day. Maybe have that question still in mind, not like contemplating about, but just have it like in the back of your mind. Have that energetic connection to that question that you asked, and then just go about your day. The answer will come when you least expect it and when you're most receptive to the information. And then here you can write that down. You may get the guidance through, maybe you're seeing a sign when you're out and about, or maybe you're talking to another person, they're telling you a story, and then light bulb moment, what they're telling you is exactly what you needed to hear. Or maybe even you watch a TV show or a movie, and then something in there happens, and it's exactly the message that you needed to get. Or you really just get that internal guidance. Whatever way, you will receive the guidance when you're least expected and when you're most receptive. So when you're trying to do it while you're actually in meditation, or you want to get the guidance when you want the guidance, Just be in that receptible state. Really surrender and let go. Really detach from any outcome. Be in that receptive state. That's how you then get the guidance whenever you would like to receive the guidance. And it comes with practice. That's why I mentioned do it daily. Connect with your soul. Connect with your higher self on a daily basis. Maybe even multiple times a day. Tune in, check in. Okay, what's important for me to know right now? Oh, okay. I go about it, right? Things like that, and it gets easier the more you do that. Because you're really building that bond. And like I said, doing this, it also helps then sharpen your intuition, sharpens your channeling abilities as well. That can also open you up to then channeling higher guidance from angels, galactic beings, ascended masters, or any other light being that then comes to you and makes themselves known to you, because you're then also growing ready to then actually connect with them, to be open to receive their guidance as well. But one thing that I want you to also know is that you always want to trust the guidance. If you double checked and you know that this is higher guidance, you want to trust the guidance. Never reject it, never disregard it. You want to trust the guidance, and then also you want to act upon the guidance. Because think of it like that. If you go to someone and you ask them a question and they give you really good, solid advice, and then you just totally disregard it. Do you think you can do that very often? Because eventually they're going to be like, well, you've asked me all this time. I've given you solid advice and you totally disregard it. So guess what? I'm not going to give you any more advice. That's kind of the same thing. Now, your soul is all loving. Your higher self is all loving. They want to help you because, it's part of you, right? But if you, as the human person with an ego and a personality, just go and get guidance, but then disregard it or not act upon it, and then eventually your soul is going to say, well, you haven't listened to me before, so why would you listen to me now? So how about you listen to me first, then I will give you guidance. Right? So it's going to be kind of like that. So always listen to the guidance and then act on the guidance. That is really key. But you see, this is how you do it. This is how you connect with your soul. It doesn't take long. It's not hard. The hardest part is really just to overcome your ego. And that's why using automatic writing might be an easier way. When I first started, I was actually just journaling about my day, journaling about what was happening. And then I asked a question, but I was so tuned in that when I asked a question, then all of a sudden I noticed that my handwriting started to change, like the way I was writing changed. I was writing to me, like in a third person, then instead of just me writing in first person. And then all of a sudden I stopped myself like, oh my God, this is not me writing this. And this is when I realized that, hey, I was actually channeling higher guidance. So automatic writing is a powerful way to get started with receiving guidance, because like I said, when you're in meditation, it's easy to just kind of wander, your mind wanders. So it may be a little harder, but definitely try both. But this is really how you go about this. This is how you go about connecting with your soul and receiving guidance. And here I want to invite you, or actually I was guided to invite you to do a 20-day higher guidance challenge, so to speak, where you tune in on a daily basis for 21 days to connect with soul, to go through the process I shared with you, to ask those simple questions of what is most important to know for me for today? Or what is most important for me to know about X, Y, and Z? How can I serve myself in a higher way today? How can I show up in a higher way today? Some simple questions. And do this for 21 days and then see how your life changes, how your intuition develops more. This is an invitation that I was asked to invite you from my guides to do this for 21 days. And feel free to then let me know in the comments below how it went for you. Feel free to come back after 21 days and let me know. But also, maybe let me know, are you working with your higher self already? I would love to know. But here you go, you have the simple process. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, do me a favor, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't done so already. Definitely be sure to check out this video here about activating your soul's mission, a powerful light language activation. And I look forward to seeing you again in the next video. Until then, make an amazingly abundant and joyful day. Namaste.